Welcome to the Mad Science Laboratory here at LunarOutlaw's Garage. I'm Brian, and we're going to be working on a really cool project. Modernizing engines so that, don't get me wrong, the LS is pretty cool and all these other modern engines are great. But imagine if you could take an old Hemi or, I don't know, say a 68 Porsche 911 engine and run it just like any other modern engine. Now, one of the biggest things when I say I'm going to modernize an engine, you might be thinking, well, see, distributors are, awesome. They've been around for a hot minute. What if you want to go with something even cooler than something like this big ugly mother right here? It's big, it's huge, and it is, it's ugly. And it doesn't really do what we need to do to make it a modern engine. If we're going to be doing it properly, we need to be able to know where our crankshaft is and where our camshaft is. Now, in this particular case, the crankshaft sits inside here and it's driving the distributor. So normally you'd be turning one of these into your camshaft position sensor, but seeing how this is driving the distributor with the engine or the crankshaft, we're doing a crankshaft distributor today. Now, there's a lot of different facets to how you design it. I'm going to cover the mechanical end of things. If you're interested on the electronic, how to make the actual trigger gear work and everything like that, I'm going to pass you over to this video right here where you can listen to probably one of the best minds you're going to encounter right here, Calvin from Cartoon New Zealand. He is a guru and he's an absolute hoot.
Hey, g'day Brian. Right, so Brian and I have worked together before. I may or may not have. No, I did. I did wire his Supra. I made a loom for him, sent it over for him, and as with many people doing the same sort of stuff, you know, we build a relationship, we build a friendship, and we get on and we chat about things behind the scenes and not just car stuff. So Brian put to me that he had this idea, this concept of doing a EFI Porsche, converting it over from the carburetors, and we got to talking about the intricacies of the crank sensor and actually how it works and those pickup wheels and the trigger wheels. Brian was fairly confident he had the mechanical side, but he wanted to know about the actual signals, how to set that up, and how to try to do it once rather than doing it 10 times and finding what doesn't work like I've already done. I've been doing this a long time. Probably should tell a little bit about me. I started on as a mechanic a long time ago. I was like 18, but I always tinkered with farm stuff behind that and motorbikes and race bikes, so you kind of get into mechanical stuff. And it grew to a point where I wanted to do a high ace van because I was riding motorbikes, and so I put a Lexus V8 in a high ace. And I couldn't find people to do this stuff. I just couldn't find it. Wiring. You talk to the experts and they didn't know how to run the autos and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of that's been self-taught. Just goes down with my enjoyment of doing stuff that other people can't do. And I really enjoy the concept of taking something that's a bit different, the Porsche, like Brian's got, and turning out something that's cool and different, and there's a good learning process. But also really important that Brian doesn't have to learn things on his own. We can share. So we came up with this idea. He put it to me. Let's do a collaboration. I'll do the crank sensor, the theory behind it, getting the peaks right, getting the design of the trigger wheel right. Brian was going to lay out the mechanical side. I've watched the video. Brian, it's awesome. I love what you put down. I'm really, really impressed. And I think it's a good step forward to working together in the future, even though I'm quite a little way away from you, team.
Highly recommend his channel. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, head over there. But inside this box right here, we have our first working prototype of a crankshaft position sensor for this. Now, this is the initial design that I came up with for the crankshaft position sensor. You should probably grab yourself some 3D printers for rapid prototyping, because if every single iteration you've come up with since day one is made out of metal, it's going to cost you a literal fortune. But we can get away with doing all of the expensive stuff out of plastic, and then we can just pitch it when we're done, and it doesn't hurt so bad. Pennies on the dollar, if you know. So let's go ahead, open that box, and while we're doing that, let's go ahead and talk about today's sponsor, PCBWAY. Now, if you're looking at rapid prototyping your own products, or just trying to make something for yourself, I highly recommend taking a look at their services they provide. they make things like PC boards and stuff like that, but I'm more focused on the CNC and the 3D printing of aluminum and stuff like that. I have products that I've worked through with them, and honestly, I'm very pleased with the overall quality, customer service, and lead time. Right, that's the main part. They are quick at getting things turned around, and the quality is awesome. Essentially, what we're doing is what a distributor does already, trying to figure out where top dead center is so that we can have our spark happen at the right time. And we can combine the camshaft and crankshaft position sensors with knock sensors and stuff like that so that we can create sequential ignition and injection. Modern stuff. So instead of tearing down this 440 big block distributor, which obviously would do us no good, we're going to tear down, I already have tore down, one of these. This is a distributor for the Porsche engine. Now this one I bought off of eBay for $100 because it was non-functioning, and I didn't want to tear down a distributor that there's like $1,400. So $100 sounded pretty good for a sacrificial part. Now we're able to figure out all the different components that were here and how we can integrate that into a more modern design. And that is, we needed this. Pretty much just this right here, because that goes into the engine right here. Okay? And then from there, it will actually interface with our crankshaft, which I don't have in here because it will fall out. But we're going to turn this around and we're going to look at the actual sensor that we've designed here at LunarOutlaw.com. Wow. So once we got that out of the way, we threw that into Autodesk Fusion, all our measurements, and figured out what we needed. And we have a little table we're going to throw here so I can show you the individual components. The most critical part, of course, is this right here. This is our housing. Now, this is a delicate balance between fit and form. Form and function, I guess I would say. This right here still has to fit exactly where the old distributor went. Right? See, specifically in this orientation. Just like that. So once we have our form factor, we can start working on the actual mechanical parts of it. So there's a few things you need to take in consideration. You don't need sealed bearings in here. Please don't go that route. Instead, you're going to use these things right here. They are cast bronze self-lubricating bushings. Bearings, technically bushings. But they work great. They've been used for longer than we've been alive. So we have our housing, right? We have our bushings. Perfect. Then we can reach inside of our really cool bag and we can actually grab our shaft that's going to hold all of it together. Now, we have to do a little bit of assembly here because we have shims and stuff like that that are involved. But this slides right down inside, like so, and that's going to be where our drive gear goes. Look at that. When you're designing your assembly here, there should be a friction fit between your gear and your shaft. And ultimately, I end up having to put this into the oven for a little bit and heat it up. And then what I put here is just a roll pin. So it should be friction fit. It should have zero play between it and the shaft. And we have a roll pin just for extra good measure. Just sitting in right there. Yeah? Now, the next thing we have for this particular part is sitting inside this box right here. This is the factory O-ring seal that would go on the shaft of our housing. So slide that in there, and now when this goes in, it's a nice, really tight friction fit. I want to also introduce you to Popsicle here. He's my my moral support tonight while we finish up this project. He's hanging out actually on the Chrysler Firepower brand new heads that we got. Yeah, what's up, bud? Yeah, how you doing? Yeah. Anyways, here we go. We have this all slid in. It should be a pretty solid fit. Not too loose, not too tight, right? Should be able to go right in, and it will get nice and tight because of that O-ring. That's the fitment you're looking for, just like factory. Don't want oil getting out. You don't want, water and the breasts getting down inside there. Now we can start installing the critical component, which is our trigger wheel right here, right? So I have a locating pin. I'm going to slide that down on there. The rest of the assembly is actually pretty straightforward. We have our locating pin that goes in there. This piece right here goes in and captures the locating pin. Our keeper washer. Or not. Now, some people are going to make an argument that this needs a lock washer, or a spring washer, if you will. We could do one that has teeth, I suppose, but problem with the spring washer in this application is as the spring washer gets hot, you're actually going to lose tension, and you don't want that. So this will get tightened down. This will get bolted in right there. Again, this has an O-ring to keep it all nice and sealed up. So when it's fully assembled, you have a crankshaft sitting right here. And in a lot of cases, this is a good way to kind of look at like a cut through on an engine block that has a camshaft in the center of it, like an old Mopar or old Chevy small block or something like that. Here's your gear that's being run off of it, right? So this is going to be driven by the camshaft, or in this case, the crankshaft. And as it's being driven, you can see, I can't see, it's spinning around. And if you look, oh, actually, I couldn't have done that again if I tried. You can actually see where we're hitting this. And again, the explanation of how this works is fascinating, and I highly recommend you click that link I was talking about. Isn't that neat? Spectacular. Let's put the cover on it and make an O-ring and everything and make that all closed up. What we need in this case is some stock O-ring I have right here for other projects, and we're going to just, now we could order the proper size, but I wanted to show you guys how you can actually get O-ring material like this at home and just cut it to length. So, sharp knife, razor blade, and then we're going to find where it is here, like so, and trim it just like that. From there, we double check that our size is correct. Man, I'm measuring it twice and I'm still too short. I'm just kidding. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. Just where we want it to be. There is a absolute hairline right there. That will give it a little bit of attention when it's all done. Then we got this right here. This is primer. We're going to prime our O-ring material here, like so. This is 404, Loctite not found. And we're going to go ahead and, have I used this one yet? They do have expiration dates, so keep that in mind. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Little goes a long way, like that. Close that back up, because this stuff is not cheap. And then we don't twist it. We want to make sure that they are just going to want to go together, you know. I also cheated. I put a little bit inside the groove and then put it in there so that it doesn't fall out. I don't know if that's necessarily best practices, but it's a practice. And then we put our bolts into this thing here, like so. And you torque these down to something like 5-ish foot-pounds. What up, buddy? You a big dude. Yep. Not cat foot-pounds, our foot-pounds. And that's what it looks like when it's all assembled.